Exercise 604, scientific notation. Scientific notation is a shorthand way for writing very large or very small numbers using powers of 10. So to write a number in scientific form, we write it in this form. You have a number between 1 and 10. Now that number between 1 and 10 can be 1.5, 2.7. That's between 1 and 10. 0.5 is not between 1 and 10. 9.3, that's between 1 and 10. So a number between 1 and 10 times 10 to some power. Now, if the number is a big number, you get 10 to a positive power. So to write large numbers in scientific notation, this is what we do. Position the decimal point. Actually, I don't like doing it that way. Where's the decimal point at the moment for that number, 1500? At the end? How many places do I have to jump to get it to a number between 1 and 10? 1, 2. If I put it here, I've got 1.5. Can you see that? So how many places did I jump? 1.5 times 10 to the 3. It's a positive power. You look at the original number. Is that a big number? Yes. That's 1,500. It's a big number. It has a positive power. So you put your decimal point at the end and you see how many jumps. Do you know where I'm going to stop jumping here? Where do I stop? 6.3. That's a number between 1 and 10. Not 0.6. That's less than 1. So I jump. How many jumps here? 3, 6, 9. That's an easy. Instead of going 9 times, do 3 at a time. So it's 6.324 times 10 to the, is this a big number? Positive power of 9. Right, the next one's a bit of a tricky one. The decimal point's at the end. 75 is bigger than 10, so I need to move the decimal point back how far? Once. So it's 7.5. Isn't that a number between 1 and 10? Times, it's a big number, so it's a positive power. And how many jumps did I do? Now, girls, isn't 7.5 times 10 equal to 75? Well, that's how I could check it. So, what about the next one? The way they say to do it is put the decimal point there, 3.76. They're saying do it this way. And then how many jumps to the end? That's the other way. Do you like it like that? Or do you want to start here and go back? All right, if you want to start at the end and go back, that's fine. Or you can start it here after the first significant figure, 3.76, and how many jumps to the end? 1, 2, 3, 4, times 10 to the 4. That's the other way you can do it. The next numbers are small numbers. They'll have 10 to the negative. At the moment, the decimal point's here. How many jumps do I have to make to get it to a number between 5 and 10? So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got, it'll be 5.2, but it's not 10 to the positive 4, it's 10 to the negative 4. Why am I putting negative? Because it's such a small number. This one, how many jumps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where do I want to stop? 7.12, not 71.2. I need a number between 1 and 10. So I jump one more. 7.12. Do you get that? I have to stop. I have to stop when I get a number that's between 1 and 10, and 7.12 is between 1 and 10, times 10 to the minus. Good. Now, whoever likes the second method, let's do it their way, because sometimes that works better, because you count backwards and you know it's negative. I'm going to do this one. They say to position the decimal point after the first significant figure. They're saying the point really should go here. Yes. Or do you like doing it the way we did? All right, so how many jumps? 1, 2, where do I put it? Where does it have to go? 4.675. How many jumps to get there? Yep, it's 3. But it's a small number, so it's -3. Do you get it? That's a small number. You wouldn't write. If you write times 10 to the power of +3, that's timesing it by 1,000. This is a really small number. So girls, any number less than 1 has a negative power. Number between 1 and 10. 0.34 is not a number between 1 and 10. What should it read? So 3.4. Now, is this number, so it's a small number, it's less than 1. If the number's less than 1, it's a small number. So is it 10 to the +1 or -1? No. Because it's a number, that number's not bigger than 1. For a number less than 1, it's a negative power. Girls, or if you want to check, what's 3.4 times 10? 34. That's not 34. All right? Now, convert these in decimal form. Do you know how to write them? How many jumps? Is this a big number or a small number that I'm going to... All right, so you jump how many times? The decimal points there go 1 and 2. Now, how do I keep jumping? Instead of keep jumping, what do I just add? 3, 4, 5. So you can see it was there and I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That number is 738,000. No, look, get rid of that little point. That's a smudge. No decimal point anymore. This is saying 7.38 times 100,000. 10 to the 5 is a 1 with 5 zeros. What about this one? You know 10 squared? What's 10 squared? 100. So just move the decimal point. 1, 2. What's this answer? 9, 4, 2. That's the new decimal point. 0.8. When you multiply by 10 squared, 10 squared is 100. You're just timesing that by 100. But the 2 tells you how many jumps to make. If you're multiplying it by 10 squared, that's a big number. That makes it bigger. Does that make sense? What about this one? How many times do I jump? So the first jump takes you here, and then I still need to do 6 jumps, but I add zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do you get that? Because, yeah, I can keep jumping, and then I just got to put zeros in their place. Girls, that is 2.3 times a 1 with 7 zeros on the end. 10 to the power of 7 is 10 million. What about this one? How many jumps? Am I making it bigger? How many jumps? 3. Where do I go? 4, 5, 2, 7. Now the last one, bit of a tricky one. 10 to the power of 1 is just 10. 40. It's 40 because you're jumping 1, you add a 0. All right, these are smaller numbers now. I have to go forward or backwards. All right, because they're negative powers, they're small. So from where the 5, 7 is, I go back. 1, 2, 3. That's my new point. Do you get it? What do I put in the place? 0, 0. And you put a 0 in front of the point so that no one thinks you've just smudged your pen or that it's a dirty mark on the paper. 0 point. So the point's here and we've got to go back. 1, 2, 3. Got it? How many places do I move the point back here? I'm just going to write the 482. The point's here. It goes back there, 1 place back. Add a 0 at the front so we know that the point's there and it's not just a dirty mark. All right? The next one, how many jumps back? How many jumps back? Write the number. All right, it's here. Go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, I put another 4 and a point and another 0. So I go back 1 and I'm in front of the 5. I still need, you okay with that? You're 5.3. So you start here, you go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the new point. What about the next one? How many jumps back? So when you do these ones, put your 68 over there. The point is here. Go back 1, 2, 3, 4. Fill in some zeros with the point. See, when you look at 6.8 times 10 to the negative 4, that's small. Okay? It's a really small decimal. What about the last one? A bit tricky?
0.7.
Good. Because whole numbers, the point is at the end, it's 0.7. Now, this is the last thing that I need to do with you. Write 675,824 in scientific notation. Let's just do it in scientific notation first. I'm not going to worry about the decimal places yet. What's that in scientific notation? 6.75824 times 10 to the what? Girls, I'm not worried about decimal places yet.
5.
Good. Now, see the first number? Do it to 2 decimal places. 6.7 or 6.8? I want only 2 decimal places. 6.8 times 10 to the 5. Girls, I want you to treat this as 2 separate questions. Write it in scientific notation first, and then the first bit, write it to 2 decimal places. Let's do the same here. Write it in scientific notation to 2 significant figures. Go scientific notation first. 7.654 times 10 to the what? How many jumps? 10 to the positive or negative? Now, I only want 2 significant figures in the first number. 7 point? Good. Next. This one. Write it in scientific notation first. 9.47 whatever times 10 to the... All right, that is too many figures. What's it going to be? 9 point... Great. Girls, this one down here, I write this in scientific notation. 4.3576 times 10 to the 4. I only want 2 figures. Very good. Sorry, that's a point. 4.4 times 10 to the 4. And the last one, that is really 0.6666, right? Write it in scientific notation. 6.666 times 10 to the what? Girls, 0.6 recurring is 0.66. So I've moved it 1. It's to the negative 1. I just want 2 numbers, 6.7.